با گام‌های استوار، پرتوان و پایدار، دستان به دست هم سرود و هم قدم. من یک زنم در نبرد با ارتجا، کوه عزم و رزم آهنم. من یک زنم، من یک زنم. ایستاده‌ام چو کوه، پر غرور و پر شکوه، موجم روان چو رود، پر خروش و پر سرود. من یک زنم در نبرد با ارتجا، کوه عزم و رزم آهنم. من یک زنم، من یک زنم. تا به کی نشان ز خون ما، تا به کی ز خون ما، صد نشان به کوچه ها. ای مرام زن ستیز، نیستت ره گریز. من یک زنم در نبرد با ارتجا، کوه عزم و رزم آهنم. من یک زنم، من یک زنم. با لبان دوخته، بالهای سوخته، بانگ ما نشد خموش، این بود مرا خروش. من یک زنم، من یک زنم. مام رافعم، مام پارسا، این منم که رستم زادم. ژین و حدیث، نیک و نوید، تهمینم گرد آفرید. آزادم، آزادم، آزادم.
We are privileged to hear insights from three distinguished speakers of three different countries. The first speaker is Ms. Nidal Nojak, Jojak, Ms. Nidal Jojak from Syria. The second speaker will be Ms. Elohe Amani from Iran. And the third speaker will be Fatima Aytak from Turkey. Each speaker will contribute to the discussion in two parts. So the first part, each speaker speak about 12 minutes, and it will be an overview of the current state in their country. The second part, each speaker will comment to each other's speakers and identify similarity and opportunities for future collaboration. And also, through this discussion, we will explore the potential of creating a network of women's organizations in the Middle East to effectively combat violence against women. The attendees have the opportunity to engage with the speakers for deeper discussion. But please write your question in the chat room so that more people can have opportunity to participate in this discussion. First, now the first speaker, Ms. Nidal Jojak. She is a feminist, politician, and civic activist, defender of the marginalized, and a member of the Syrian women political movement. She is a Syrian of Kurdish background. She lives in Finland, working in an organization that is interested in women's fitness in multicultural background. Thank you, Nidal. The floor is yours.
Hello, everyone. Hello, ladies. Thank you so much, Fiber and the team that having me here, sharing you my opinion about the violence against women and girls. I'm just wish that my voice is clear, and I will try now to share with you my screen. So, yeah. And I will start it very quickly because in order to save time. And here is also, I just want to take out this from here. Yeah. So can you see my screen, please?
Yes, it's good. Yeah.
Great. So if we talk about the violence against women and girls, I think we already can remember the decision 1325, which is Women, Peace, Security, and which is this item was decided by the International Organization for Human Rights, and this decision is related to women, peace, and protect women's rights. And let me just show you some kinds of violence, because when we talk about the violence, we just it just comes in our mind that it is just the kind this violence when beating the women or hurting her or making just injuries. But in fact, there is many facts, many forms. Many forms of violence against women, such as if like the forms of violence, like most prominent manifestation of violence against women. For example, physical and psychological and moral violence, which is that any acts that is psychologically harmful to women and girls having physical effects. These kinds of actions, it's any kind of actions actually that aimed at insulting women and or degrading her dignity, self-confidence, or personal value, and isolating her from her external environment. And these actions, any actions also that aimed at weakening their power through the use of legal and social privilege, such as insult, neglect, abandonment, surveillance, and detention, forcing her to marital home, or treating her as a servant, polygamy, not recognizing even the parentage of children, or threatening her to kidnap the children from her. Also, we can have this kind of the physical violence, which is a behavior directed against the body and the physical dignity of women and girls, which harm to the body. This physical violence can be distinguished by the mark left on the body, such as injuries, bruises, and fractures. This violence against also through the various means, including the assaults or tools that reached the point of killing. And this is very common in our community, actually. And even if there is no laws or any kind of a protection, legal tools to protect women from these kind of very common violence against women. Also, we have this kind of violence which is rarely mentioned in our community, and it's about to be like normal, unfortunately. This is the sexual violence, and it includes all sexual acts associated with the coercion, whether through threats, seduction, intermediation, the use of physical force or sexual suggestion through facial expressions, verbal expressions, or movement, or in order to achieve sexual desires or the purpose of the harming the victim. This kind of violence actually mostly used in the prisoners in prisons and jails against the detainees in order to to take their their speech, or to during the investigation. Also, let me move to this kind also of violence, which is the economic violence. And this is also not mentioned in our community. It's supposed to be like something owned by men or male. Economic violence includes all actions and aimed at the depriving women of the resources to meet their needs to live, to live in dignity. And they preventing them from working or forcing them to work and seizing their resources. The scarcity or absence of financial resources given to them and depriving them of their right to inheritance. We have also this kind of legal violence. The legal violence, which is the absence of the protective laws or the absence of the presence of the discriminatory laws in considered a form of legal violence. And this is very noticeable also in our constitutions, that there is the laws which is not preventing, or there is the laws that is can't stand beside women's rights and take things that is kind of customs in the society. Discrimination against women on the basis of gender in a national constitution or laws, as well as not being equal to both sexes, which cause physical or psychological, economic, or sexual harm. The legal violence manifests itself in some situations, such as arbitrary divorce and the proof of lineage or divorce. Difficulty for women to get their divorce and polygamy. Come to this last slide, which is social violence, and this is also very, very common in our community. It is the abuse of women and girls in the name of norms, traditions, social customs, and culture prevailing in society, and based on the stereotype of social rules between the sexes, to impose a social siege on girls and restrict their opportunities for communication and interaction within the external social world. And this is what happened recently in Iran, when they beat or detained Gina Amini because of her appearance, and it was instead of protecting her, instead of judging those moral politics, they accuse Gina Amini because of her appearance and because she is out of the law of the customs and the customs in the society. Thank you, and I hope that I was not taking time, and ready for your questions or or my colleagues also speech. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nidia. It's very wonderful, everyone. Thank you. It was so insightful, very comprehensive. Thank you. And so I present our next speaker is Elahi Amoni from Iran. She's a gender, peace, and human rights activist, and served at California State University system for the last 31 years as Director of Student and Academic Technology Service, lecturer in the Women's Studies program, Elohe has followed the global women's movement since 1985 and the third UN Women Conference in Nairobi, Kenya. She attended the fourth UN Women Conference in 1995 in Beijing, China, and has presented papers at the conference as well as the post-Beijing conference in Cuba and all the commission on the Status of Women, CSW session since 1995 in New York. She has presented the UN Human Rights Council Tunis session briefing on stoning in 2003 as a Women's Intercultural Network, WIN, board member. She went to Afghanistan as a trained mediator and played a pivotal role in bringing the majority of the women NGOs in Kabul to the same table for coalition building and collaboration. Elohe has been working with Mediators Beyond Borders and faculty of the International Training Institute and cross-cultural specialist of MBB, was served as co-chair of the inaugural Training Institute of MBB, Women in Mediation for Women Leaders in the Middle East in Turkey. In March 2019, she was the keynote speaker of the UN Women's at the UN, and she is currently president of WIN and one of the Iranian circle of WIN founders. In 2022, Elohe was elected to National Association of Community Mediation Board. Elohe has been honored to serve as the editor of the women's section of the monthly Khat Sukhan, a human rights activist news agency publication in Iran. She is well-published writer both in English and Persian on issues related to peace, justice, gender, equality, violence against women, and human rights. Her articles are published by Women News Network, Open Democracy, Safe World for Women, Los Angeles Progressive, and many, many other Iranian women human rights publications, including but not limited to Khat Sukhan, Peace Line, Shahrband, Iran Women Solidarity, and other Iranian feminist women human rights publication. Thank you. You have a very long resume and have done so many things for women, and we are so look forward to hear your talk. The board is yours.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. I am delighted to share a screen with two gender equality activists from Turkey and Syria, and listening to what they shared. And my sister from Turkey, she's gonna share after me. Thank you, Stop Honor Killing Campaign, for organizing this event. So first, I want to provide a definition that globally is accepted on violence against women. Is defined as, quote, any act of gender-based violence that result in or is likely to result in physical, sexual, and mental harm or suffering to women, including threats of such acts, coercion, and arbitrary deprivation of liberty, whether occurring in public or private life. This is the definition, global definition of violence against women, as it was approved in the Convention Against Violence Against Women in 1993. It has been established a long period that violence against women is a major obstacle to women's equality, security, and their right to enjoy basic freedom. It is a universal problem seen in every country and across all societies, regardless of age, class, education, income, religion, ethnicity, and culture. I vividly remember witnessing a disturbing scene of domestic violence at a bus station while on my way home from high school. This experience has stayed with me and fueled my passion for addressing violence against women. Violence is a multifaceted issue, and categorizing its various forms can never be exact. However, international documents and conventions defines gender-based violence as physical, psychological, stalking, forced marriages, sexual violence, including rape, female genital mutilation, forced abortion or sterilization, sexual harassment, aiding or abetting an unacceptable justification for crimes, including those committed in the name of so-called honor. Building on this definition, we can identify 5 interconnected types of violence, which is including of physical, verbal, psychological, sexual, and socioeconomics. Additionally, domestic violence and harassment can be combinations of these forms. Importantly, multiple forms of violence can coexist, particularly in abusive relationships. These forms can occur in both the public and private spheres and perpetuating by individuals, like at home, organization, like at work, institutions, or states, the way that we see in many Muslim majority societies. I want to emphasize the violence women in Iran experiencing, including systematic discrimination and violation of their human rights by the government, which constitute one of the darkest historical experience for women in Iran. Violence comes in various forms, including, as I mentioned, physical, verbal, psychological, sexual, and socioeconomics in Iran. The government perpetuates gender-based violence through systematic discrimination of human rights violation. The fact is that violence against women is the cause and consequences of gender inequality. This is a global fact that violence against women is the cause and consequences of gender inequality. Women in Iran face harsh treatment, including arrest, imprisonment, and even death for so-called crimes like not covering their hair or bodies. The morality police target women significantly more than men. There are cases that the morality police also harassing young men in the streets of Iranian cities, and the government responds to protests and violence. The Iranian regimes perpetuate systematic discrimination against women, relegating them to second-class citizens. Islamic Republic of Iran condones and engages in violence against women, including harassing, imprisonment, and flogging women. The tragic fate of Jina Mahsa Amini, who died in police custody, exemplify the brutal treatment women face for so-called crime of resisting compulsory hijab and to cover their hair in public. I have to mention that Mahsa Amini was covering her hair, but was so-called a bad hijab, a term only coined in Iran amongst all Muslim majority society by the regressive force of people in position of power. There is no such a concept as bad hijab in any other Muslim majority society. The world heard the voice of Iranian women and girls, and the women life freedom movement after Gina Mahsa Amini death at the hands of morality police. It sparks protests met with government violence, resulting in over than 500 deaths, more than 20,000 arrests, and reports of rape and torture of people in custody. This brutal response highlights the urgent need for continued advocacy and support for women's rights and freedom in Iran. Activists advocating for women's rights are targeted, and brave women like Zainab Jalalian, Sepideh Ghalian, and even our Nobel Peace Laureate Narges Mohammadi are in prison. The judicial system disproportionately punishes women, denying them political and economic opportunities. Families and inheritance, as previous speaker mentioned, in Iran too, family and inheritance laws based on Sharia law also favor men over women. Basically, the regime's oppressive policies perpetuate gender-based violence and inequality. So the question that the organizer asked me to respond, how Iranian women are combating violence against women. At the international level, holding the governments of Iran accountable for gender-based violence is guided by international legal frameworks like the Convention on Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women, CEDAW, the 1993 UN Declaration on the Elimination of Violence Against Women, and the 1995 Beijing Declaration of Action. I have to mention, among 5 countries that globally has not ratified CEDAW, Iran and United States of America are the 2 major countries. The other are very small islands that if you go over them with the plane from 30,000 feet, you won't even see them. So they're a very small island. But US signed CEDAW during Carter administration, but never ratified CEDAW. While most countries in the region, in our region, have ratified CEDAW, a reservation on certain articles and signing a bracketed text of these documents hinder effective implementation. Only 3 countries in our region, in MENA region, in West Asia and North Africa, only 3 countries, Morocco, Tunisia, and Libya, have ratified the optional protocol to CEDAW, allowing for additional means of communicating and complaints to international experts. At the national level, Iranian women and girls have been at the forefront of a struggle for democracy and human rights in Iran. Over the past 45 years, they have moved from margin to the front line of social movements demanding personal, social, and political freedom. Women's group and organization in Iran and in Iranian diaspora are advocating for gender justice and human rights, including, but not limited to, including but not limited to efforts such as the campaign against honor killing and tens of other human rights, women, and feminist organizations and networks. Iranian feminist activists seek not only combating violence against women and discriminatory laws, but aiming at revolutionizing gender power dynamic. As a conflict management practitioner, as a mediator, I note the need for a nationwide coalition, inclusive particularly of economically, socially, and politically marginalized women in Iran to combat violence against women. Transnational solidarity in Muslim-majority societies is crucial as similar patterns of violence prevails, We have a lot in common with other women in countries of our region. The World Health Organization, reports high rates of intimate partner violence and other forms of violence with significant physical, sexual, and mental consequences in countries of West Asia and North America. I always mention I don't like the term Middle East because it's a colonial-centric term. When England was the center of the world, the region of West Asia was the Middle East of England. So I refer to our region as West Asia. Violence incurs tremendous costs from healthcare to losses in productivity, impacting national budget and development. Discrimination against women and negative gender stereotype perpetuate violence. While legal and policy frameworks exist in many of the countries of our region, enforcement is often inadequate and multiple sector services are lacking. The services are not connected. It's not in a system. It's maybe here and there. Conflicts also in the region expose women and girls to further discrimination, exploitation, and trafficking. Patriarchal power relation and the rise of Islamist ideologies exacerbate the issue. Transnational solidarity among women, gender minority, and LGBTQ individuals is essential to combat violence against women and bring change. Now, lastly, few words about transnational solidarity in Muslim majority society. Muslim majority society in West Asia and North Africa share similar patterns of combating violence against women. According to World Health Organization, 37 of ever partner women in Eastern Mediterranean region have experienced physical or sexual intimate partner violence, which is relatively a greater percentage than other parts of the world. Other forms of violence prevail, including so-called honor killing, early and forced marriages, sexual harassment, and female genital mutilation. Violence has severe physical, sexual, and mental consequences for women and girls, including death, and hinder their full participation in society. It also incurs significant costs, such as healthcare and legal expenses, impacting national budget and development. While data on violence cost is scarce in some countries, including many of the countries in our region, we don't gather data how much it costs violence against women. Morocco and Egypt have estimated annual cost of $6.7 million and $780 million, respectively. Discrimination against women and perpetuate negative gender stereotypes contribute to violence, with campaigns to address its growing. However, legal frameworks often fail to comprehensively address violence in our country. Last word, to address these challenges on combating violence against women, not only in Iran, but in other countries of our region of the world, transnational solidarity among women, gender minorities is needed. And I have to mention the last word. Let us remember that our solidarity is our weapon. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Elijah John. We will continue in the next section and in Q&A talk more about this collaboration. Yeah, there's so much we can discuss and find work together women from all the women organizations. So let's go fast to the third speaker, Ms. Fatima Aytak. Fatima Aytak is a dedicated feminist activist with a background in advocacy and leadership. She is one of the founders and co-chair of the Women's Party, as well as the founder of chairwoman of the Red Pepper Association. Additionally, Fatima volunteers her time and expertise with the Women's Coalition and ISTIC platforms, the Women Platform for Equality in Turkey, as well as Bridge to Turkey in the US. Educationally, Fatima is an alumni of Bogazi University, where she studied industrial engineering, and also another university where she pursued sociology. Within 25 years of experience in the private sector, including 15 years in IT management, Fatima's professional journey culminated in her role as the Chief Information Officer of a prominent Turkish the Turkish company for the past 5 years, currently resident in New Jersey. Fatima is committed to empowering Turkish American women and galvanizing the Turkish women civil society movement through her outreach effort. Thank you so much, Fatima, to participating in this panel discussion. The floor is yours, please.
Thank you, Fariba. Thank you very much. Thank you for inviting and having me on this panel, and thank you talking with to be in the floor with Nidal and Elahi. I am deeply impressed from the presentations, and I know the story very well, but each time when I hear what is going on, my heart is squeezed. I feel so bad, really. So my two favorite word is unity and solidarity. There is no other way. We should be in unity, we should unite it, and we should show solidarity. That is the, I think, I hope at the end of this session, we will take a step on this basis. I mean, since last night, I'm always thinking about it. What can we do about it? Because, you know, I know Elahi from CSW meetings, Commission on Status of Women. This is it's going to be my 9th year in the CSW. We are coming together. It is good to feel solidarity. It is good to be all together. But so what? At the end of it, we need to do something. So let's discuss at the end of this session about what we can do. Let's have a solid and you know, concrete decision on it. Let me start by saying I am here representing my own NGO, Red Pepper Association. In Turkish, it is Kırmızı Biber Derneği. And we are also a part of the Turkish women's movement. And I would like to tell a few words about violence against women. Elahi mentioned it very briefly and very, I mean, I like the explanation. I would like to have it from you, Elahi. I would like to copy it from you for my next speeches. It was really great. You know, violence against women knows no borders or no boundaries. So it surpasses geographical and cultural differences. And it manifests in several forms, including domestic violence, sexual harassment, trafficking, and nowadays, cyber violence. With the improvement of the digital technology, cyber violence started. So women is suffering. Women are suffering in everywhere. It is unbelievable. They turn it somehow to them and started to again creating violence for the women and harmful traditional practices for sure. Despite progress in some areas, many women continue to suffer in silence due to the, stigma, fear, and lack of resources. So, particularly in Muslim countries, cultural and societal norms often intersect with the religious beliefs. Women face unique challenges in combating violence. I know it from my own country, and it is valid for defending any right. I mean, if you are a right defender, you are automatically criminalized by the government. I mean, governmental authority doesn't want anyone to go for human rights, women rights, any right defending. They don't want to hear about it. So it makes it so harder to combat. In Turkey, our area is shrinking every day. We are shrinking to, I mean, I cannot tell you how difficult it is. So that is why the combat is so respectful, because in spite of all the risks the women take to the floor and combat for their rights. It is so important. So that is why I admire to the all the right defenders. Joining forces and forming networks, we can amplify our voices and leverage collective strength to address the root causes of the violence. These networks can serve as a platform to solidarity, advocacy, and support. So we can create a united front against the gender-based violence, I do believe. Let me tell about what is going on in Turkey, because Turkey is as a constitution, we are a secular country. Turkey is a secular country, but we are on the way to going to a religious country. It's really scary what is going on nowadays. I do live in US since 10 years, but I'm living in Turkey. I'm following what is going on very closely. So the women's movement in Turkey is always forefront through grassroots activism, effecting legal reforms and awareness campaigns. Nowadays, what we are trying to do is to keep existing law, because they are trying to change the constitution. That is why we are trying to stop them. The only thing we can do is to defer what is going on, the future danger. We are trying to defer at least. So we are in that stage really. After the last election, probably you all follow from the media. After the last election, in 2017, the Turkey switched made a constitutional change, and we started to presidential system. It is called. It's specific to Turkey. There is nobody nowhere in such a presidential system. It is Turkey is presidential system after the 2017. So it replaced the parliamentary system. The president served as a head of the state, head of the government, head of his own party. I mean, it's not neutral. It is biased in his own party side. Yeah. Okay. And after the last election on May, the presidential system also solidified. Now separation of powers is disappeared. There is no separation of power. Especially the judiciary system is a tool of the president. There is no rule of law. And everything is left to the discretion and mercy of the president. The president, Recep Tayyip Erdogan. Everybody knows in the world him very well. I mean, it is. They put an example when they are talking about authoritarianism, totalitarianism, etc. they put President Erdogan in one of the three in the place in the example. It is unbelievable. We are in this situation. So, but there are more scary things. In the last election, another two parties, very fundamentalist, very far-right conservative parties entered to the parliament. One is the New Welfare Party, we call it Yeniden Refah Partisi, and Hüdapar. Probably Hüda is the same word in Persian. Hüdapar is the Sunni Kurdish Islamist political party. They ask for Sharia law. They gave representation. They secured 9 seats in the parliament after the last election. It was in May last year. So the rhetoric started like the Taliban regime. They started to say gender apartheid, separation of male and female schools, separation of buses, and even the weddings. I mean, they do not want women and men to come together in anywhere. So this discourse, the worst thing is voiced within the parliament, within the Turkish parliament. Now, there are 2 legislative proposals attempted to be bring to the parliament. One is legally guaranteed the healthcare. The other is under the pretext of protecting women, protecting family. They don't protect women. Family is the first choice. Family, they aim to criminalize LGBTI movement. So they want to close their association. They want to ban their flag, which is, rainbow. You are not allowed to bring a rainbow to anywhere. Probably you will remember last year, our president was in the United Nations. He joined to the General Assembly, and there was SDGs in the stage, Sustainable Development Goals. And he said that he doesn't want to talk in front of the LGBTI flag. It was so funny. He doesn't know what is going on in the world even. Now there are no obstacle by means of the parliamentary composition perspective. Then AKP AK Party, the ruling party, can bring it to the referendum. The only obstacle is the women's movement. The only obstacle. Civil code, our civil code, Medeni Yasa, is under threat. A system called SEDES, in Turkish we say SEDES. I am sensitive to my environment and uphold my values. They started such a system. It sounds very good system when you hear about, I mean, sensitive to my environment and uphold my values is good. It looks good. But under this project, they put imams and preachers to the primary school as the entitled advisory counselor, spiritual advisor. So they put these people and brainwash to the primary school children. That is why the women's movement, when I say women's movement, let me explain, I'm talking about independent women's movement, because there are a lot of gongos, government organized NGOs, non-government organization in Turkey, because the government created their own organization. So I'm talking about, for sure, the independent women's movement. Held a rally on the anniversary of Mahsa Amini's murder on September 16. So in the rally, they said they defend secular education, secular life, and equal citizenship. And at the same time, they draw attention, for sure, to what is happening in Iran, highlighting the impending danger. It shows that there was a good interest and good attendance to the rally. Really, it was very crowded. So it shows and it gives hope that Turkey is resisting, still resisting. But yeah, we are losing a lot as the time being, because the forces in front of us is very powerful, very, very powerful. After Afghanistan and Iran, we are facing a really serious threat. Women's alimony is under threat. Inheritance rights of the women is under threat. It is unbelievable. They are saying that men in religious attire are rallying in the streets. They are putting the green flag and they are asking for Sharia. I couldn't imagine that. I couldn't never ever imagine that, and anyone in Turkey imagined that in 10 years ago. It is changing very rapidly and it is unbelievable. When we come to the violence against women, the Istanbul Convention. The Istanbul Convention is a golden standard for protecting women against violence and domestic violence. But 2 years ago, President Erdogan, because he's the president, he has all the right, withdrew from the convention. They used the LGBTI rights as an excuse. They say that this convention defends the LGBTI rights, LGBTI marriage, etc. There is no word about it in the convention, nothing. But they use it as an excuse, and they say that we don't need any foreign treaty. We have our own laws, so we can protect our women against violence. They say that zero tolerance to violence against women. But every year, women are killed, murdered by men, but zero tolerance in the government side. It is zero tolerance. They say that we have law. Yes, we do have law. After the Istanbul Convention, the parliament made a law. It is called Prevention of Violence Against Women. We call it 6284. They say that we have the law, so we don't need convention. But what happened after that? The same conservative group renamed the law as family breaking law, and they want to revoke it. Now they are defending to revoke it. We are trying to defend the existing law. We are in such a situation. Ella talked about CEDAW, Convention on Elimination of all forms of discrimination against women. It is a UN treaty. That is why it is hard to quit from CEDAW. But again, they are talking about, quit from all the international treaty. Why do we need all this international treaty? We can have our own treaty. This is totally nonsense. But they are wording it. It is unbelievable. Let me come, I can talk about my suggestion afterwards. Let me finish here, so we can talk about suggestion in the second part, I believe. Thank you for listening to me.
Yeah, thank you so much, Ms. Aya. Fatima is wonderful, and it's so sad in West Asia that, as Elijah mentioned, is the Middle East, and that we can see backwards. And what have we been, in Turkey for 10 years ago, 20 years ago, and then that's it's very sad what's going on in Turkey. So we have 5 minutes break and we have music. Please, if you have a question, write in the chat room. And then the next part, I ask from the participant first, give comments. You talk about Syria, but it's so interesting to hear your point of view. What's going on? Do you think in Iran and Turkey and all these speakers talk about the other side of their neighbor countries? So 5 minutes break, and now we listen to music. Thank you.
Please stay. And don't tell me what to do. No, don't tell me what to say. And please, when I'm there with you, don't put me on display. I don't tell you what to say. I don't tell you what to do. So just let me be myself. That's all I ask of you. I'm young and I love to be young. I'm free and I love to be free. To live my life the way I want. To say and do whatever I please. You don't own me.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you. First, so before making question, I can see there are people who raise hands, but I really love to hear Nidal. You know, you talk about the Syria, but I went to other countries. You heard about the women's violence against women in Turkey and in Iran. Some of the similarities that can be we can talk about for collaboration and unity and solidarity, as Fatima said about this. I really agree. And so just 1 or 2 minutes. Have any comments about the two speakers? Nidal?
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Fariba, for this also, and for the thank you for the colleagues also, the ladies who talk about the violence in their area. Sorry, I just when I show these slides about the violence or the kinds of violence in as common, I talked about it like as common, but privately in it is a situation the same in Syria, because you know, now Syria is in conflict since 11 years ago, and all knew that it is because of the interference by Iran and Turkey also in the Syrian affairs. This is affect and influence greatly on women's situation and women's move and even rights. And it is a kind of oppressed and a double like combating their rights or practicing their rights. For example, in North and Western North in Turkey, in Syria, we have the interference of Turkey, and they're supporting the radical factions who are now controlling the area by the name of the Sunni sector. And on the other hand, also we have the interference of Iran in Syria and supporting the regime, the Assad regime, and also by the name of the Shiite sect. They are protecting the Shiite sites in Syria. So between these interfering and colonialism interference in Syria, we as a women, Syrian women, we suffered a lot, because we before 2011, Syrian women were about in the advanced level of learning and education, and even they were participating somehow in the civil society. Of course, political sides was marginalized by the regime for all the people, but women try to have like their places. But after 2011 and after the interference of those countries by the name of the religion and by they by trying to protect their religion, the identity, the religion identity of those places. We have this like we get the very background and backward again, as if we are now in the. If you notice, we in our region now, in especially the Kurdish region, we have as if we are living in the Osmani empires. And now in Damascus also the same, but on the like this Shiite aspects, it's not the Sunni. So they try to make it like this conflict, try to make it as the two sects who are conflicting, who are fighting each other, but using Syrian people. And also this influence, as I said before, it influence much more for about the women, because we have now very strong and very strong limits and very strong boundaries about how to move. I mean, the women how to move, and even they were very strong attack against the some organizations and associations who are interested about empowering women, and those unfortunately has been attacked by the religion men. So what I want to say that my colleagues Fatima, Aytaj, and Ilahi was put they pointed exactly how this religion, this systematic operation for the women are working or are done by those countries, not even in their country. They also try to move it to the other country, to other region in around. It's like this, the country like Syria, Lebanon, Iraq, and this is also this kind of colonialism they are practicing in.
Thank you very much. And the same question to Elahi, John, if you have any comments, any your in the two other countries you talk about Iran, but if you have comments for the two speakers from women in violence against women in Syria and in Turkey, and is there any similarities and differences you can see, anything they think you want to comment?
Okay, thank you very much. I really appreciate what Fatma and Nida sharing. I think the women in the region, and specifically not all the Muslim majority societies, but in the region, we have so much in common. And the life of women are being threatened not only by patriarchal power structure, as in Syria, Turkey, Iran, or other countries of the region, but also by conflict, by war, and by people in position of power that they are using religion as a tool of oppression. I recall in Tehran, the fathers, the family of my grandfather on mother's side, they were very religious, and they were so their interpretation of religion was so different than the Islamists that they are in position of power in Iran right now. So I think since the latter part of 20th century, since 1970, we are witnessing gradually the growth of fundamentalism, extremism in all religion, but particularly Islam. And we see that in the region. And the fundamentalist, extremist, Islamist forces, they try to use religion to exercise their power. And the first thing that they try to display these efforts are by challenging the rights of women at home and in society. And we see that in all religion, even Christian rights movement in the United States is doing the same. We saw that after so many decades, the right to abortion was denied to women in the United States at federal level. So this is a global pattern. We see the rise of religious extremism in all religion, even Buddhism, that it's a symbol of balance and kind of more milder version of religion. We see that. I hear from women in South Asia, in Nepal, in India, that how those that religion also is moving toward extremism. So having that in place in our mind, and another global pattern of the rise of right-wing politics. So the combination of these is creating a very complex situation for women globally, and particularly for all of us in the region. So I deeply believe that we need to connect with women in the region. We need to connect with women in other countries. Yes, Turkey's situation is not as crazy, and the violence is not the way it's being displayed in Iran. But I remember even 10 years ago, the Turkish organization sponsored by the government of Turkey, they were coming to United Nations, and they were setting the ground for all these things that happening in Turkey. So I know the Turkish activists that they are being arrested and in prison. So although the situation in each country is a little bit different, but we have a lot in common, and bringing together our forces is the only weapon that we have. We don't have an army. We don't have a huge budget that these countries has. So the only weapon that we have to combat violence against women is our solidarity and learning from each other's experience, and sharing those experiences, although each country has different situation. I've been in contact with younger women like you from Syria, and that they had to leave and they had to be in refugee camp, and all the stresses that these women are experiencing. And I always say, I'm not representing Iranian government, but anytime I talk to a Syrian activist, I say, I know how proxy forces of Iran is making life more difficult for people in Syria, and how they contributed to the destruction of a beautiful country like Syria. As a child, I remember people were going to Syria for vacation from Iran. And when I was seeing the war and destruction in Syria, really, it's look what happened to Lebanon, that they say it was the Paris of the Middle East. Look what happened to other countries. So I think as an Iranian, I can say that the role of Iran and the proxy forces of Iran in the region, it's definitely a dangerous force. And yesterday I was listening to someone from Iraq that they said, we don't want our country be the scene of conflict between Iran and United States. So I think one of the major obstacles to women in the region are the Iranian government and their proxy forces in Iraq, in Syria, in Yemen, in other countries, in Lebanon. So we have a lot in common, not only to challenge the patriarchal power structure, but also with the politics in the region. So we have to join forces. And as African proverbs say, if you want to go quickly, go by yourself. If you have a long way to go, go together. We have a long way to go to combat violence against women.
Yeah, correct. Thank you. That's very good. Yes. Fatima John, do you have any comment to the other two speakers from Iran and
Thank you.
Syria. Yes.
Thank you, Fariba. Yeah, it is, I mean, what I thought that we should talk more together, really. We should talk more together. I wonder, Nidal, are you living in Syria currently? Now you are in Syria?
No, I'm in Finland.
Finland. Okay. Whenever our government, I mean, in trouble, Tayyip Erdogan in trouble, he launched a military attack to northern Syria. This is his, a kind of sport. So when we are going to election, when he is losing power, I mean, whenever he needs, it's a kind of tool for him. He goes and he said, "Oh, military attack, we killed this much, terrorists, blah blah." This is we are not eating it, we are not buying it, but his population, his voters, constituents are buying. This is the problem. Whatever. I mean, when we are talking between the women's group in Turkey, we are saying that we are close to be Iran, but we are closer to be Pakistan or Afghanistan. The Turkish population is much different than Iran. Iran has a deep culture, more educated, deep Anatolian. In Turkey, deep Anatolian people are very far from to being educated population. They are so different. So the west and east of Turkey are totally different. The middle Turkey, the west Turkey and east Turkey are like three different countries. So that is why if we go towards there, probably we will be a kind of Pakistan. So it is so scary, really so scary. As I am also one of the founder of Turkish Women's Party. A friend of mine is also here, Tümay. We both are founders of Turkish Women's Party. So we are closely following the politics. What is going on in political arena? What is the government is trying to do? The local election are coming in at the end of March. So all the policies are changed. I mean, when you are going to election, everything changes. After the election, it comes to the real world. This is a kind of really, it is so scary. If you come to the women's movement, what we can do as a women's organization together. I know we are a part of the women's group, the independent women's group in Turkey. I know all the women's NGOs. We are connected together. For instance, I also invited a friend of mine from Women Coalition, but she couldn't attend. Elahi know her, she's Selma. There are more than 200 independent NGOs within the Women's Coalition. I know who are connected with the UN. I know which NGOs are connected with European Union. I mean, we are connected with each other. We are following what is going on all over the world. We are trying to at least. So we can form a kind of solidarity group between Turkey, Iran, Iraq, Syria, Afghanistan, Lebanon, Pakistan, and all the neighboring countries. For instance, you can bring all the NGOs from Iran in which you are connected. Nidal can bring Syrian people, and we can form a big group. We can amplify our voices from the bigger mouth. So let's form a kind of small group and start to build a big community. I mean, this is my suggestion. Why not start from here? We can do that, and we should do that, because otherwise our own voices is not enough. Solidarity is very important. We have seen it. We have seen the power of solidarity during the Istanbul Convention. When he quit from the Istanbul Convention, when I say he, I mean Tayyip Erdogan. Even Biden press a declaration. He said that this is a good convention. Why do you withdraw from the convention? So we created a lot of voices all around the world. Solidarity is very important. From UN Women, Lopa, at the same night, she made a speech. She created small video, and she sent it to all the UN Women's entities in all over the world. That is why it is. I see I see the power in solidarity. I don't want to talk about only the Turkish women's movement. I want to talk about all the regions, because we are under oppression, under suppression. I mean, the women, like last year in Turkey, 563 women murdered last year. This is the last year figure, and the figures are not going down. They say that zero tolerance to the violence against women, but when the president, they see him like a god. When he says women and men are not equal, it is against our fitrat. Fitrat is the Persian word as well, I think. It is against our nature. They are not equal. And if they say that women should know their place, so how can you diminish? How can you decrease the figures? It is not possible. And another important thing I want to say is, as a politician, women should be in the politics. Women should be equal representative in all decision-making points. Representation in politics, very important. If you are not there, somebody else are eating your, right. They are not taking the decision in favor of women. They are always thinking about themselves. Patriarchal norms are so powerful. I mean, the patriarchy is a big, opposition force, and connected with religion. Oh, it is giant.
Thank you.
Really,
Thank you, Father. Yeah,
sorry for,
I love you say unity and solidarity. 100% agree. We have 4 people raising hands. Thank you so much for your patience waiting so long. The first, so I go through this 4, and then one in the chat room. We have a question. First, we begin with Ms. Rizwan Muaddam. She is a founder and speaker of Stop Honor Killings campaign. Please, Rizwan John, you can open your mic.
Thank you, Faiba. Thank you, all of the 3 speakers, for a good and rich presentation. Thank you, really, Nidal, Fatma, and Elahijan. And thank you, everyone, for participating in this meeting. I wish we could have you for next event that we have in 8th of March. Of course, 9th of March, but it is because of the Women's World Day. I have a question for Nidal. As you mentioned in your presentation, that a kind of violence is legal violence in Syria. It is said that the Syria government is secular, and we know that the basic element or condition of secularism is separation of the religion and the government. What is the cause of the legal violence in Syria? And I have a question for Fatima. We know that the women's movement in Turkey is a strong movement, and they are very strong. What are they doing in Turkey to reduce the violence? And we know that in Turkey, with the growth of Islamic fundamentalism, if you could share your experiences with us, I would be appreciated. Thank you. Thank you very much.
I think the question was for me, and thank you, Rizwan, and nice to see you again. And actually, I'll just comment first about this expression that Syrian regime like a secular country or secular government, and this is totally wrong, because I will give you example. In Article 1, the reservation of the Syrian Arab Republic to the Article 2 of the Convention on the elimination of all forms of discrimination against women, ratified for accession to it by the December decree number 330. And it is dated in September 25 of September 2002. And this should be cancelled in manner that does not conflict with the provisions of Islamic Sharia. This article shall be published in the official magazine or official gazette. So this is like a small example about how the Syrian government present itself like a secular regime, and this also the attempt to preserve the women's rights. The United Nations adopted the Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination, and also again the on the ground. This agreement has been ratified by the 180, I think 89 countries around the world, but including also Syria, which is initially refused to ratify on the grounds that Syrian women do not suffer from any discrimination in rights. However, to prove the secular, civilized face to the state and due to the international pressure on it. It is like a propaganda that those regimes introduce themselves as secular, but and also they claim that they are protecting the minority. And now, if you look at the situation in Syria, and you will find that in our constitution, there is the first item in the institution, the president of this state, the Syrian Republic, should be the Islamic background. So I don't know which which kind of secularism could be identified like this. If we have in this institution, in its constitution, this kind of items or this kind of laws. So yeah, this is briefly what I can answer. I hope that I give the answer.
Yes, thank you. The same as the Pahlavi regime before the revolution in Iran. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, yes, let me say a few words about the Turkish women movement. In fact, we are saying it, the women's movement in Turkey, instead of saying Turkish, I mean, politically correct, to be politically correct, women's movement in Turkey, we are saying it as the feminist women's group. What we are doing, I mean, the women's group are coming together every week, because every week they are creating different troubles, different problems for the women's group. That is why we are coming and discussing the next week solutions every week. There is a group, we call it Parliamentary Monitoring Group or Night Watchers. They are watching Turkish Parliament every night. I mean, what are the decisions they are? What are the petitions are coming? We are hearing from the opposition party. This petition is coming. For instance, the alimony rights. They are trying to diminish the alimony rights, or they are trying to make divorce speedy divorce. I mean, speedy divorce means they will put women in front of the door without any alimony. So we are hearing from the opposition. We are in connect with all the opposition parties' women. in the parliament. That is why we are hearing from inside, and we are watching the parliament, what is happening in parliament, in which in which session, which status are talked, which are the petitions in their minds. We are in connect with. That is why we are taking action. We are galvanizing all the women's group. We are, for instance, making social media campaigns. From time to time, we are going to the parliament. The women's, for instance, last month or the month before, the women's group came together. They went to the parliament. The opposition parties, women's, took them inside of the parliament, and they raised their voices within the parliament, and they made a press release after this meeting. The social media campaigns is so unbelievable. We are in social media every day. So it is taking lots of time of ours, but we have to do it. There is no other way. As I say, we are just deferring what is coming. We are just deferring. Because we don't have power. We are not in the parliament. And the parliamentary composition is let them to take any law, any constitutional amendment to the referendum. And in referendum, I'm sure that he's going to win. I mean, he has all the power. He's controlling everything. Not Big Brother is watching you. I mean, I cannot find the proper word in order to define his his power. It is not like any other country, any other system. So I can give an example what we have done during Istanbul Convention, Razvan. Istanbul Convention, we were not the only country who is opposing to the ruling party. Turkey, Hungary, Poland, and Croatia. We came together. We made a big panel. We invited all the women's group from all over these 4 countries. So it created really a good voice. The president, the ruling party, the government heard about it. And we deferred it 4 months. And in a night, he made it at the end. But what we can do, we can defer what is coming. We can defer it. That is why with the solidarity, international solidarity, we will have more power and we will put pressure on the government. I do believe that we can do that.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
We are over time, and we have 4 people have raised hands. So I suggest we hear all the questions, and we have also one in the chat room from Susan Rashmi. So first we hear the 4 questions. Shole, you're the first, please.
Yes. First of all, hello to all, and I wanted to express my appreciation for excellent speech and information. And I have a very brief question, 3 questions, one for each of the speakers. For Ms. Nedal, you mentioned the social violence, and in that explanation, you included the traditional costume. I'm just wondering, can we say that burqa, veil, hijab are included in the traditional costume? And so, is it good that we support some European countries that they wanted to ban using burqa or hijab in their schools? This first question for Ms. Nedal. The second question for Ms. Elahi. Thank you very much. And you, Ms. Elahi, you included forced abortion as one of the violence to the women's right. In the current situation in Iran, especially in Iran, And also in United States, can we say that preventing women to have the right to abortion, to access to some birth control methods is part of violence to women rights? It's opposite to forced abortion, but I think we can include it. This kind of pressure on women as a part of violence to women's rights. And the third question for Ms. Aytak. Thank you for sharing the information about Turkey. I am very sad that the only secular regime in our region is converted to very extremist Islamic regime. I just the name of your organization caught my eyes and attention. Why you name it Red Pepper Association? Thank you very much.
Thank you. So we go to next question, Tommy, please.
Thank you very much from all you speakers. And I felt so, in touch with what is happening in Syria, Iraq, Afghanistan. And for the last 4 decades, us as a Iranian woman, we've been, like pushed back, but I'm so happy that women became the leader of the revolution in Iran. The sad part is after doctrine of multiculturalism and cultural relativism, I live in Canada for 30 years, and I see the sensitivity about the violence against women's rights, especially in the Middle East or in that region. It became less sensitive. And every time when I spoke about the violence against women, I've been excused or dismissed by my union and by many, organization like that under the name of it's your culture, it's your religion, it's your belief. And so I think what is happening in the Middle East, and as one of our sisters said, even in other religions, but especially Islamic coming, right in countries like Iran, luckily after the revolution of women life freedom, many people, especially in the West, they opened their eyes and they saw this is not, religion. Women in the Middle East, they don't love to be, get beaten up or discriminated or, be abused. But here, every time we speak, especially after the war in Gaza, when we are talking about the role of religion in women's life, we see they shut our mouth by saying, by using the term of Islamophobia. And we cannot express ourselves, freely, like one is in my union. Every time I spoke, they said, oh, that's Islamophobia, the racism is going to grow and blah, blah, blah. And they don't give the weight that it should have a weight, and we see the violence happening in Syria, Iran, and other in Middle Eastern country, even from, women's organization, I don't see and they care as much because they excuse themselves under the, belief of that's their culture, under the belief of cultural relativism and, we should respect their culture. So, I think us women in Middle East or in that region, our point of attack should be on political Islam, not Muslim people. But we should have a, nice or more clear version of explaining political Islam, who are, I believe, it's the same as fascists. It's a new era of fascists that are trying to, especially starting by attacking on women, and by attacking on women, they are attacking the, the whole society. Like I went to Turkey last year, I was shocked. I lived in Turkey 30 years ago, and it was more secular. And I worked with women organization then. But when I went to Turkey, I was shocked. I saw the process we went through last 44 years. They are starting there. And Erdogan is using religious rule by suppressing women and using that suppression to suppress the whole society in Turkey, to take away their democratic rights, to, like and to take away not just the women's rights, they take away the union's rights, many, secular rights that people in Turkey had. And anyway, I think that's our game. That's our, point of attack should be against political Islam in the whole region. We should have a campaign against political Islam and show the world that how dangerous they are. And under any excuse, like Islamophobia or anything, because in Canada, for example, they were trying to bring Sharia law. And if they, pass Sharia law in Canada, that means any woman from, those regions, they couldn't go to the, secular or even if they went under the pressure of their community, their imam, their, men, who were controlling them, they couldn't, use their rights even in Canada. And that was happening in England too. So I think, what do you think, you guys, how we can, mobilize ourselves to fight against two battle? One is, against political Islam, and the other one, this term of Islamophobia that hiding our hand to speak out about, what is happening in the Middle East, not just to women, to the whole society. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. And Shaheen, your turn, please.
Hi, good morning. For some of us are still morning, June knows. First of all, I should thank all of you, the speakers, with these quality speeches. Lots of information you gave us. I am really delighted to hear all of you as a woman. This is the first thing. I mean, it's a kind of question, but giving a heads up also. I heard Fatima and I live close by, so we have discussions face to face. So I know some information, not secret information, but information from Fatima. She explained, and the reason why I'm saying this is for Rezvan, because Rezvan was asking how we can use this. She collects this information in order to do something about Iran. And I remember that Fatima talked about how active they are in the local election in Turkey. And I saw there is a big difference with Iran, because she said when it's Istanbul and they really know who gets up there, this makes a lot of difference. This is one thing that probably we should emphasize on in Iran. And the other thing that she said, women in position of high up there, so they can be also decisions maker. Because men, well, they try, but there's a difference when women is up there. So how we can do this? And again, something Fatima said about NGOs. Before I forget, the solidarity should be put at the top of our agenda. That's this is the key word. But NGOs, you said. Islamic Republic has become very clever. It has infiltrated in the political arena of other countries, and we see in Germany how they are close to decision makers, native decision makers in even parliament. And also, I read articles, not just one, that people close to the authority and government in Iran, but I could be close somehow to one of these. They are organizing NGOs. So these NGOs should be quite distinct from NGOs that you, that have no relation to the government of Iran are forming. So this is a heads up. I think I have said everything that I wanted to say. And thank you again. And solidarity is the key word. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Shainjan. We have two, so it is two last people who can make questions, Nahid John and Susan John. So Nahid, you are first, and then Susan. Please, Nahid. No, you can. If Nahid, okay, Susan. So you go. Yes, Susan John.
Okay, thank you very much, Fiberjohn. Thank you very much, all these distinguished speakers. We really learned a lot today. But as a speaker for the international working group for the campaign, I will inform that we are working on a bigger seminar later this year, and I will ask all of you here help us. We try to contact women activists from other countries, Pakistan, Afghanistan, Lebanon, every country in our region, in order to have these solidarity groups, which we are talking here. And I agree with all of you that is the most necessary action we have to take now. This is the biggest collective action maybe we can take right now. So I just want to inform you and thank you before you give your last comments in this event. And just if you know anybody from other countries, from Afghanistan, from Pakistan, from Lebanon, from any countries in our region, West Asia and North Africa, so help us to arrange this seminar. We are going to come with further information later. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Susan John. If I don't know if Nahid, are you there? You can make a question. If he's not, we have another question from Susan John. It says she asking, how do women in Syria combat? So that is the last questions. Please, I think we begin like the first part. Every speaker ask the questions that related to your subject with you talk, and then the last comments, and then we go to Elijah and Fatima John. So Nadia, you first.
Yes. I think if I understand the question by the lady here, that if we follow the system of the violence, social violence, which is concerning, I mean, she mentioned to the hijab and how it's been oppressed in Europe, and that if it is kind of violence, then we have to agree in the European government who prevent the niqab, the burqa, or this. If I understand correctly, please, if it is not like that, let's correct it. But
Ms. Nadal, I'm just wondering, in violence, in social violence, you mentioned traditional costume including burqa, hijab, veil. So, because many Muslim community, they force their daughters to have hijab. It's not a choice option, it's a forcible practice. I'm just wondering, so can we say burqa, veil, hijab is kind of social violence? And so thereafter? Can we support the European country like France to ban hijab in public schools? Thank you.
Thank you. So, if hijab and any kind of covering girls or women related to the customs or to religion as the belief, I think it is okay. But if we forced girls or forced women and make it like a rule and laws to be followed forcefully in everywhere, so it is really, yes, it is a kind of violence against girls. For example, I want to mention like yesterday I was in a meeting. Also, we had it was like this group, women group, and many women from many from different different areas in Syria were in this meeting, and one of them living in northwest of Syria, and where these the folks, the de factos are controlling this area. She is Muslim, and she said, okay, when before those de factos controlling us, they are called Jabhat al-Nusra, because before they controlling us, I put the hijab, or it's not hijab, it's like a small strap they putting on their head. It's okay, it was fine. But now when it was forced and I couldn't move or go anywhere without putting in like what they decided it. So this is kind of violence, because she said that one time, or by the time I would like to put it out, I don't want to keep it all the time. But when it came to be like laws and we have to be followed, so this is the violence. According to regarding to the European countries, the parliament, and also this is I witnessed in Finland when one parliament membership, she is also from Iran, and she was this arguing about this kind of hijab in Europe. It's okay. It's kind of okay if you are forced in your country to wear it and you don't want, but now you have the free choice. Beside, it is also here that you can't cover your face when you are in the common society, in the in some governmental places, or in common places. You can't cover your face, because when you are dealing with the like people in who are in on this governmental center, it should be like your face should be appeared. I have to see your face. I have to know who is I'm talking with. So here I can't say that I'm arguing or I'm against the European decision that towards who are wearing this khimar on their faces, cover their faces totally. Their just eyes are looking. I'm not agree actually with this, because here we had the free choices. But if I mean, it is a bit complicated, because even if in Europe, even if we have free choices, all those women have free choices to wear it or not, but still in their home, there is a kind of depression. There is a kind of forcing them to wear this kind of hijab. So if it can, I can briefly say that if it comes to the kind of this, okay, I'm believing this and I am wearing it because I feel, some women said that we feel our security, or we feel like peace spirit when we are wearing this hijab. But I think most are forced, and this is really kind of social violence against women.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And maybe you can also ask a question to you. It's how do women in Syria combat from the chat room. Can you answer this question?
Sorry, I couldn't hear that.
It's the another question is the chat room. How do women in Syria combat?
How come it's to combat or yeah,
Yeah,
how
so maybe you
I
can.
think
sorry?
I think she meant how to women in Syria combat violence against women.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, it's many. There is many kinds of combating women in Syria. First, it's like after 2011 and the interference of those countries. Women were them also to follow the religion, most of them, because of the even the background of the Syrian people is like Muslims, but it was exploited by those countries who are interfere in the Syrian affairs. This religion or this background exploited that okay, since you are like a society with Muslim, the religion, the Kama region is Muslim, so they were oppressed or they were combated to by religion to be oppressed, and it started from this point when they also tried to change the way of the movement that is started in 2011, and it was against the regime, the Assad regime, and then they changed its way to be like the conflict of the between two sects, which is the Sunnah and Shiite. So this way also I think also women came to be in this combat, and each side try all the time to use them as the weapon or as the they want to use them in this combating. I don't know if
Thank you. Yeah,
I understand.
that's
Yes, thank you.
So, thank you very much. So Elijah, you also there are questions to you and your comment and did so we that but after that we go to Fatima. Elijah, you.
Thank you very much. I try to be short because I think we're running out of time too. But regarding Shole's question regarding forced sterilization, I haven't heard in Iran, although I read a couple cases, I can't confirm that in Iran it's happening, but I know that you ask about United States, there are cases that currently in legal system as a case because of a sterilization of women that they are mentally ill, or sometimes women in prison in the previous years, the sterilization of Native American in poor neighborhoods. So they were cases. I'm sorry.
My question was something else. I asked you, you mentioned about forced abortion as a violence to women's rights, forced abortion. But I asked
forced sterilization, forced sterilization.
But exactly you said forced abortion. Maybe it was just a mistake in expressing your
I meant forced sterilization, which is happening, and they are documented in United States and Canada for particularly Native American women forces, but the denial access to abortion, that is, I think, a violence against women because it's challenging the authority of women over their own bodies. So the case, and that is happening in United States, as we know, I'm part of the movement here in United States and also in Iran, and not only in Iran, in many Eastern European countries right now, the abortion is illegal, and we can believe it's not too far from Iran. So that is what I meant to communicate regarding your question. Regarding Tammy's question, I think women globally and particularly in our region, we are walking a very thin line between Islamophobia and also between the right-wing populist movement in Western countries. So these two forces are pressuring that you're either with one against the other or the other. Like in the case of Iran, if I want to break it down, you're either with Islamic Republic against United States or with United States against Iran. In Syria, you're either with Syrian government against proxy wars and others, or you are with agent of Iran or other powers or Turkey against Syrian government. This polarization is one of the characteristics of our world, and this polarization put women's human rights in a very dangerous place. So women's activists, feminist activists, we're walking a very thin line. We are walking a very thin line because we're neither forces of operation and we're neither forces of religious extremist Islamists, or in the case of United States, for example, Christian fundamentalists. So this is this voice doesn't have a big microphones in their hand. Our voices, the women and feminists in today's world, even in United States or Iran, but more intensely in our region. So that's why I emphasized our solidarity, because on one hand, we are against the religious extremism, Islamist, or any country, even Needle working, living in Finland, you know, the forces of their of extremism, religions, regressive forces, and the forces of right-wing populist movement. So that's how I see that. We are walking a very thin line. And so the women's movement, feminist movement, is the third voice against both of these global patterns. So, and then who else? I think I responded to the question. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Elijah. So we hear from Fatima as the last speaker.
Thank you.
Thank you. And
Thank you, Fariba. Thank you. It's great to hear from all of you. Let me answer Shule's question. What is red pepper? Probably you guess about it. Red Pepper Association take the name from. I sprinkle red pepper. It means hot pepper to your mouth, which implies a warning who speak disrespectfully about women. For instance, if you call women, if we are not equal because our fitrat is different, we have to put red pepper to your mouth. You can understand who we aim. We aim the man. At the first is the president. We aim the president, and we say that we will put red pepper to your mouth. It happened. In Turkey, it is a kind of habit. The little children talk with the dirty words, and the grandma mostly they say that I will put red pepper to your mouth. This is yeah. We use the term from there. Let me talk a few words about. I mean, I will keep it short. Really, I think we are short in time. Forcing women to cover or uncover. I mean, if you force it, both are oppression. So you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't do that. It is a free will. Woman can wear scarf or doesn't wear scarf. I mean, it's none of the man's business. It is our will. So I mean, I see the situation from this point. I mean, it's another debate. We can make it somehow, sometime. I hope we can do that. Really, as Shahin told, I mean, I like to talk. I like to discuss with the Iranian woman. We have so many common things, so many commons. So I do believe that we can create a common kind of solidarity and common kind of fight. We can, the ones who are living in US, for instance, we can start from the United Nations. We can find the influential bodies. There are lots of influential bodies around. So we can form the groups. We can send letters. We can form, a kind of roundtable meetings. We can do a lot, but let's start forming a small group and try to find a kind of methodology. We can find a method so we can move on and we can defend ourselves in a better, in a more amplified way, I do believe. Thank you for inviting me. I feel so good to be with you, really. And have a great Sunday.
Thank you, Fatima John. I think it's just beginning. It's a beginning.
It is just beginning.
Of conversation, and we can have a similar seminars with our sisters from other countries, from Pakistan, from Afghanistan, from Iraq. As you say, we have so many similar difficulties and challenges, and I love you say unity and solidarity. Really remember this. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you for speakers. Thank you for all you people make questions and make this session much better. And so now we hear a song from Stop Honor Killings campaign. Thank you so much.
Fariba, can we take a picture? I mean, if everyone can open the video.
You can take a picture.
Can please everyone open your camera, please?
Open your camera so you can take a picture. You do? Yes.
Rezvan Jan, can you open your camera, please? Giti, Masood, please, everyone.
It was so wonderful. It was so
Yeah.
wonderful to be
Yes.
you, and it's I think our heart is so connected.
I want to
Yes.
thank you too also for this team and for organizing this event. I'm so glad to participate again and again. And this is, as you mentioned, it is the first step
Yes,
toward the
sure.
feminist and the global feminist. Thank you so
Yes,
much.
of course.
Good night.
با گام های استوار پرتوان و پایدار دستان به دست هم سرود و هم قدم من یک زنم در نبرد با ارتجا کوه عزم و رزم آهنم من یک زنم من یک زنم ایستاده‌ام چو کوه پر غرور و پر شکوه موجم روان چو رود پر خروش و پر سرود من یک زنم در نبرد با ارتجا کوه عزم و رزم آهنم من یک زنم، من یک زنم. تا به کی نشان ز خون ما، تا به کی ز خون ما صد نشان به کوچه ها. ای مرام زن ستیز نیستت ره گریز، من یک زنم. در نبرد با ارتجا کوه عزم و رزم آهنم، من یک زنم، من یک زنم. با لبان دوخته، بالهای سوخته، بانگ ما نشد خموش، این بود مرا خروش. من یک زنم، من یک زنم. مام رافعم، مام پارسا، این منم که رستم زادم. ژینا حدیث نیکا نوید، تهمینم گرد آفرید. آزادم، آزادم.